Welcome to the Penny for Your Thoughts podcast, your weekly insight into the small businesses of London. We'll be talking to founders to find out what makes them tick and reveal the ins, the outs, the ups and the downs of owning a small business. Today we'll be talking to Sebastian Aldous, the founder of Capua. Capua is a tech-enabled recruitment business that seeks to connect top graduates with exciting companies. Sebastian, who is only 22 years old, founded his company while at university and has now grown to a team of 5, and they've got big plans for the coming year. So Sebastian, thank you for joining us today. Why don't we dive right in with the first question, which is, how did it all start?
It's a very good question. So it all started when I was at university. So I studied, for reference, I studied ancient history at Durham. And what I found is I was in freshers and I was applying for internships. And funnily enough, no one wanted to hire an ancient history student from Durham because I don't have any technical skills. Everyone wants STEM, everyone wants tech.
Fair enough, because Durham is a pretty good university, isn't it? So you'd think.
You'd hope so, but yeah, it didn't. Anyway, so it didn't really work that way. And obviously, as every student does, I was applying for consulting roles and finance roles and all that other stuff. And what I ended up finding was that, as I say, it's really hard to get into those degrees as a humanities student for a start, but also that it's really hard to access really any other jobs outside of like your big finance jobs and your big consulting jobs, which is really frustrating because I like to see myself as quite entrepreneurial, and I actually would have loved to join a startup or wanted to potentially join a startup. I didn't really know where to find them. LinkedIn sucks for that kind of stuff, and Indeed isn't great. So I thought maybe there'd be a cool way for us to like connect these students and graduates with the companies and the jobs. So I guess that's how it started. So the idea was initially, which was kind of ambitious, but it was that we'd get all these companies to actually just get in touch with students themselves and say like, you're a perfect fit for us, come and join us, instead of students having to apply to hundreds of jobs. And that was quite cool, and so that worked quite well. So I then did become a bit more techie, and I taught myself to code, and then we built the platform, and started getting on users and started getting on clients, and yeah, that was really exciting. And then COVID struck, which was
of course,
which was less exciting. But yeah, no, so that's basically how it started, which was
cool. It's quite interesting how you said you were looking to join a startup, and you ended up making your own.
Yeah, I guess it's. I think there are a lot of people who are just quite, who don't like the idea of going and just being this like very small cog in a very big machine, and I'm probably one of them. And it's probably partly an ego thing, to be honest. That you don't want to be like.
I think it's something that we're seeing a lot of these days with young people being a bit scared of the big companies and are looking to join like a smaller startup. Yeah,
exactly. But yeah, so then we did that in terms of the platform stuff, and that did work really well. And we had like and I guess we kind of still do had some like really cool clients, like American Express using it, and like HP and RBI, which is a company that owns like Burger King and stuff like that. So it was sort of going really well. It was going quite well. The problem with it was that it didn't actually make that much money as a business, which didn't matter because we were students and I didn't need any money, but I probably did. But so we then had to do quite a big pivot, and that's kind of how we then pivoted more into like what was the VCH, I guess more of a recruitment agency, and then we pivoted, hopefully for the last time, into more of a back into sort of a tech business that uses like more of like an agency model to generate revenue.
So you started as VCH, and then recently you've moved to Capua.
So actually we started as OCH.
Oh, okay.
So we were Oxford Careers Hub, because we were just Oxford, which was irritating, so I went to Durham, but that's fine.
How did that happen?
Because my brother Benedict went to Oxford, who I founded it with. He's the older brother, so he got to make the decision. But no, so then we went Oxford Careers Hub, then we went Oxbridge Careers Hub, and then we became more general, so Varsity Careers Hub. So finally Durham was included, and then most recently Capua, which is, as you can tell, like a very big change in terms of the theme of names, but kind of represents us becoming a tech business over a like traditional recruitment business, basically.
Okay, cool. And where does the name Capua come from?
It comes from, I think it's a town in Italy. There's actually not much more to it than that, to be honest.
Fair enough, just sounds good.
Yeah, it's just a nice thing. And we also thought it'd be quite fun, because then if we have particularly good quarters, we could go on company holidays to Capua, because that would be, that's our name. So
I'm sure no one will be complaining about that.
So yeah, that was the idea behind that.
Cool. So you started this in Freshers. So you've been going since Freshers, all the way through uni, and then officially once you graduated, the business really got going. What would you say has been the best bit, or the best experience that you've had, or the best thing that's happened in the business?
That's actually quite a tricky question. There have been lots of good things and lots of quite bad things, I think. Probably like a big moment was moving into our first office.
Yeah.
That felt really exciting. That probably was the big thing, because that's like, then you go from being like a random student, there's lots of students who say they like co-founding different things, and so you go from like a student to actually being a business.
Makes it feel a little bit more real.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And like when you get people, when we're trying to like hire people ourselves, and you actually invite them into your office and be like, come meet us in our office for an interview, and it's like it all just becomes a real serious thing.
Yeah.
So that was probably, in terms of like emotionally, that's probably probably the biggest thing.
Cool. And on the other side of things, what do you think the biggest challenge has been?
The biggest challenge is then in like an ongoing challenge, or is it in like an individual like event?
Well, it's up to you. It may be something that you've had to overcome.
Okay, that's actually quite tricky. There've been a lot, to be honest.
Yeah.
And like we obviously, as I say, it started when I was like a fresher, and then we like got it going a bit, and then completely like pivoted, and then completely pivoted again, and then we kind of did while I was in my final year, we had built up a bit of a team, and then had to fully like reshuffle that whole team. And that actually, now I talk it through, that is definitely the biggest challenge. It was trying to do like my dissertation, like I had no exams, so I was all coursework based, so like all my coursework and stuff like that, my dissertation with my degree, and try to like, I think we were a team of 5 full-time people then, so trying to like organise all of that, and obviously that involves like all your like morning check-ins, evening check-ins, like feedback reviews, like everything that goes into running a normal business, but also trying to do a full-time degree.
Yeah, so it's kind of like doing 2 full-time jobs at the same time. 2 very, very busy, intense full-time jobs at the same time.
That wasn't that much fun to be honest. It was sort of fun, but it was actually not. It was that, plus the fact it was during COVID, so I was also like trapped in my like very grim university house up in Durham. That was probably the biggest challenge. But we, in terms of like an event challenge, but we hopefully overcame that, and I think that's probably why the office was the highlight, because that was also marked. I actually moved out of Durham on I think it was the 31st of June, 30th of June, I don't know, 30th of June, end of June.
Yeah.
And then on the 1st of July, I moved into our office. So it was
a nice fresh start.
A bit of a step change, yeah, exactly.
So it sounds like you've had a bit of a roller coaster of a ride with your business so far. What would you say is your top tip for other people with a small business or thinking of starting one?
Top tip. I think there's probably a lot of things, and I wish I'd like taken more advice. I should probably still take my advice, but in terms of a top tip, I think celebrating like your wins is quite important. So when something actually is going well or has gone well, so it's like a big deal, you should be like really obviously positive and then actually celebrate it, as opposed to, because I think when we had something when I was in my final year at university, and it was like a really big deal, and it was really exciting, and I was just I was like happy that I guess that we'd got the deal, but then I was just really stressed, going, we need to like fulfill this now, like. And I think your mind, when you get a big deal through, and it's like a really big thing for your business, should not be like stress. It should be like a positive, like let's like go and celebrate this with the team and be excited, and then like look for the next one or whatever. So I think that's probably a big one.
What has been your biggest win celebration then so far? What's your best? What's your best win party that's happened?
I would say, as I say, it's something I've learned, so we haven't had that many. But I think we had like I think like Q4 was like definitely our best quarter that we've ever had, and it was really positive, and it really feels like the business is like going in the right direction, and it's obviously been like a bit of as you said, like a roller coaster ride in between, or like since we started. So we had like a big I guess it's kind of our like Christmas party, but it was also just like a general like end of quarter celebration, and that was probably our big celebration.
On the Penny for Your Thoughts podcast, we do have a little tradition, which is the previous guest has left you a question.
All right.
And the question left by the previous guest was, who will your next hire be and why?
It's actually a really, really easy question for me to answer because it's kind of all we've been thinking about for the last 2 weeks.
Good timing then.
So our next hire is basically going to be it's actually really exciting for the business. It's going to be our first dedicated like salesperson or like business development person. So previously it's always been me doing that, which I think is like normally the case for small businesses. But actually I think this is like such an important step for us. So what was the second part of the question? It was who's your next hire going to be and
why?
And why, yeah. So that's basically what I said. It's like now we'll have someone, I probably do business development for like, well, I don't know, like several hours a day, but probably not all my time. And I'm trying to do like other stuff. I'm doing like fulfillment and like I'm doing a bit of everything. Whereas this guy will just be, or this guy or girl will be doing like just sales.
Yeah, and that'll be brilliant to free up a little bit of time for you as well to focus on everything else I'm sure you have to focus on.
Exactly. So that's like so exciting. And then also, there'll be like some project management. It's actually really, we are looking at the moment. So if you know anyone.
Perfect, well, you're in the right place.
But yeah, so that's our next hire.
Brilliant, how exciting. Well, thanks very much for joining us today, Sebastian. It's been really nice talking to you. It's good to learn about the business and hopefully everyone found that interesting. Yeah, thanks for having me. Best of luck with everything at PennyBooks. Brilliant, thank you.